We come to this place for magic. We come to AMC theaters to laugh, to cry, to care. Welcome to the premiere of the new Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Before we jump into the viewing of the movie, let's take a moment to embark on the journey through the world of FNAF. Although most people know what Five Nights at Freddy's is, today we are going to take a deeper look into the game development, the iconic gameplay, and its rapid rise in popularity. So hold on to your popcorn, dim the lights, and let's spring into action. The Five Nights at Freddy's franchise sprung to life from the horrifying imagination of Scott Cawthon. Scott Cawthon, a former indie game developer and writer, wasn't always a mastermind at game development. Prior to the success of the franchise, he developed lackluster Christian games that for the most part went unnoticed. According to an interview done with Indie Game Magazine, it wasn't until he received overwhelmingly negative feedback from his game Chipper and Sons Lumber Co. that inspiration finally struck him. He was told that the animation was choppy and reminiscent of animatronics, so he started developing a new game with animatronics as the main scare factor. When coming up with the gameplay, he wanted it to be easily accessible, and with such simple gameplay, he needed memorable scenery and characters. Despite the game development only taking around 6 months to complete, the game was a huge success. This was largely due to the main characters, Freddy, Foxy, Chica, and Bonnie, and their memorable and uncanny designs. Freddy Fazbear is a brown bear animatronic adorned with a black top hat and bow tie. He is also often seen holding a microphone as he is the main performer at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Foxy, the pirate fox, is a fox animatronic with an eye patch and a hook for a hand. He is more worn down than the four of them, but is arguably the least scary, with his jump scare being significantly further away from the camera. Chica the chicken is a yellow chick animatronic with haunting pink eyes and a bib reading "Let's Eat." She is also seen holding a living cupcake with unsettling animatronic eyes. And lastly, Bonnie the bunny is a blue bunny animatronic with a red bow tie, and since he is the guitarist for the band, he is often seen holding a red electric guitar. Not much is known about what went on behind the scenes of the development of the characters, but Freddy shares a striking resemblance to the Beavers and Chipper and Sons Lumber Co., leading many people to believe that this is where Cawthon got his inspiration from. Even though he didn't spend much time creating them, the game was still a huge success. The characters were memorable and, most importantly, scary. But bear with me as we go over what makes the game so scary. The premise of Five Nights at Freddy's is straightforward. According to Steam, the main gameplay surrounds the player taking on the night shift as a security guard at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria. The player sits stationary at a desk, only being able to look left and right. Since the player is unable to move, the way to stop the animatronics from reaching them is by monitoring the cameras to check the animatronics' movements. Based on what you see in the cameras, you close corresponding doors to either side of you and manage power. There isn't any sort of tutorial in the game, but rather a pre-recorded message from the worker whose job you're taking over. The worker doesn't have an official name, but is most often referred to as Phone Guy. Phone Guy gives the player useful information about how to survive each shift, as well as a bit of backstory. Over the course of 4 nights, Phone Guy reveals interesting details about prior events that have happened at Freddy Fazbear's Pizzeria, and it begins to become very clear why he's no longer working there. On nights 1 and 2, he gives tips and tricks on how to survive each shift, such as checking in on Foxy so he doesn't move, and checking the blind spots by the door. On night 4, he reveals that his shift hasn't been going too well, and after a bit of commotion, the line goes silent. But before then, he reveals that when the animatronics get to the security room, they will not recognize the player as a human, but rather as an endoskeleton. This will lead the animatronics to try and stuff the player into an animatronic suit, ending in their painful death. And after night 4, the player is left after night 4, the player is left to fend for themselves using the phone guy's advice. It's clear that Five Nights at Freddy's is a bona fide horrific experience. Um, but what makes the game so popular? According to GameDesigning.org, the main aspects of a game are memorable characters and an interesting story. We already went over what makes a character so memorable, but why are memorable characters so important to a story? Fan art and fan games are crucial to the development of new games, and Five Nights at Freddy's is bursting at the seams with fan art. But the characters in the game aren't the only thing bringing traction to the game. It is also the intriguing and complex story that has brought across many theories across the internet. And YouTubers such as MatPat and Markiplier are also largely credited for bringing the game to its popularity, with MatPat making theories for the game on YouTube, and Markiplier being largely credited for the initial popularity of the game from his initial playthrough and review of the game. The world of FNAF is a very scary and complex universe that has compelled users all over the world to play it. It's clear that Five Nights at Freddy's has made an everlasting impression on the world of horror and gaming, as we went over the game development, the gameplay, and its cultural impact. We learned what makes Five Nights at Freddy's such a good game. So whether you are a seasoned night guard or a newcomer, welcome to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, a magical place for kids and grown-ups alike, where fantasy and fun come to life. Now sit back, relax, and enjoy the movie.